Culturally responsive teaching and supporting linguistic diversity, a general overview with tips for instruction. In order to be culturally responsive educators and as teachers of English language learners, either for those who are learning English as a second language, ESL, or those instructing those in English for speakers of other languages, ESOL, we as instructors need to begin with empathy for our students. Some struggles that they face that we need to consider are they are learning outside their own cultural experiences. They learn in environments that have different historical events of importance. They may have different cultural norms of behavior. They do not share English language commonalities such as idioms and fairy tales or myths. There may be a lack of models for representation of their culture. And when using technology as an instructional tool, there are additional considerations as some have grown up with technology while others are newer to its use or approach it with a different perspective. In order to build a culturally responsive classroom, there are several strategies and actions that an instructor may take. First of all, it is vitally important to get to know your students, their interests, cultural events of importance to them, their heroes, their stories. All of these should be learned and incorporated into assignments and assessments. The classroom environment should visually have posters and objects that represent the culture of your students. It is also vital to get their names right. Getting their names right shows that you respect and value their identity and that you seek to create an environment that does the same. Building relationships with parents will help you to gain greater understanding of the cultural elements and needs of your students. You should also represent their cultural elements in your assignments or allow choice in the topic and expression in the assignment and assessment. Activating prior knowledge to help students make connections with new material is helpful. Choosing literature and topical information that represents elements of their cultural experience is essential. You should create word problems using names and situations that are familiar to students. You can also bring in guest speakers that bridge connectivity to the student's culture. Finally, instructors can try to use specialized vocabulary of the student when possible. There are specific challenges in each of the content areas for English language learners. In the reading classroom, activating prior knowledge to create bridges between themes and storylines is helpful, and the instructor should be aware of common cultural knowledge that is taken for granted when interpreting a text. In the mathematics classroom, as previously mentioned, the teacher can use names and situations and word problems that reflect the student's culture, but they also must be very aware that there are differences in measurement systems and teaching methods that the student may have previously experienced. In the science classroom, there is a lot of specialized vocabulary that will need to be explicitly taught, and concepts need to be simplified with the use of clear visuals. Just as in mathematics, the teacher should be aware that some students are used to different teaching methods. For instance, they may not be used to a lab environment or the application of the scientific method. In the social studies classroom, attention needs to be given to concepts that may be unfamiliar to the learner, such as social mobility. It will help if it is clear what is important in the text, and the teacher should encourage personal expression as a means of connecting to the text. In all classrooms, multiple delivery methods should be used, and expressions that are common to the U.S. should be avoided. Using strategies such as think, pair, share will encourage opportunities to build community. Using bilingual handouts may help the learner. Again, creating a link between the prior knowledge and the new material may create a strong link to the learning so that it is not simply memorized and forgotten. Topic vocabulary should be explicitly taught, as well as reflective language so the learner will be able to share their thoughts about the learning process. Finally, multiple options for assessment and practice with the information will help all learners. Using technology can help English language learners, but there are some things an instructor must consider. It is helpful if handouts and tasks include screen captures to show the learners each step for the task at hand. Tasks should focus on how to use the technology and not be topic dense at first, so as to create too much confusion. Group work can help facilitate community as well as assist with language challenges. Basic terms understanding should not be taken for granted and should be clearly reviewed. Finally, plenty of time should be given for tasks alongside providing opportunities for learners who may move at different paces to support everyone in the classroom. In conclusion, these are just some introductory considerations and tips to get started with creating a learning environment that accounts for culture and language differences. In the end, it's really about learning about your students and striving to make learning authentic and accessible for your learners.